The Hybrid Soul with Kelly Kinkaid is your destination for music and culture discovery. And my guest today is one of the reasons why this show was created. We want to bring artists who are bringing that heat and discover more about them. He's putting in that work, y'all, and I had to send out that invite to come to the show. So, welcome to the stage, Solomon Headen. How are you today?
Thank you so much. I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad to be here with you. Thank you for having me. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? I'm excited to talk with you.
I love it. So we want to get to know you better and discover you. So tell me, where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm originally from North Carolina. I'm from Sanford, North Carolina. It's a small town, so I always have to tell people it's like close to Raleigh, Durham, even though that's not the
Yeah,
same thing. But I'm from North Carolina, small town, from the country.
right.
Uh, yeah, from the sticks. So that's me. That's where I'm from.
So when I listen to your music, I do hear that soul. I hear the blues. I hear R&B. How did you get started to being a singer, songwriter, and just a businessman?
Yeah, so it didn't start from singing. It started from drums. So I started playing drums early on, like maybe 10 years old. I was in like all the marching bands, all the jazz bands. Of course, I played drums in church,
Yeah.
any place I could play drums, I was doing it. And then it turned into a production. Somebody gave me a computer for Christmas in like what was it, 2014, something like that. And I started making beats on GarageBand and just playing around with singing on top of those beats. Like I've been singing my whole life, but I never took it seriously until that point.
Hmm.
But once I started recording myself, I just kind of like fell in love with it. And like I said, like, having that outlet of like singing in church or having that outlet of, all my family members getting together and singing, like I got better like at a faster pace. And and
I'm curious to know, who were some of your musical influences growing up?
who are some of my musical influences? I think vocally Brandy.
Mm.
Um, there's this guy. Well, there's an artist that used to go by the name of Tone. He's now B Slade. I was inspired by him a lot. And who else? Who else?
That
I,
makes sense. I can see
yeah.
that. I can
You
see
feel me?
that. Yeah, yeah. You're an independent artist, and I love your grind. And that's why I said you're a businessman
Yeah.
in so many areas. As an independent artist putting out your music, how has this journey been so far? Because you got the project Love FM, and the Deluxe project.
Yeah.
How has this journey been? How's this journey been? Period.
It's been beautiful. I say it's been
Mm.
beautiful. It's had its ups and downs. But overall it's been beautiful. Like I'm in love with it. So I've distributed music by myself. I've distributed, music with a team. I've tried it so many different ways, but right now I'm enjoying this new venture that I'm gonna go public with in a few months. So
Yeah.
uh yeah, I'm just excited about what's to come. I love what I've done so far, but I'm excited about what's to come for sure.
I said, before we started the interview, I said, Atlanta claim,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I wanted to make it known, like you rep North Carolina, but Atlanta's like another home for you.
it
Being in
is.
that Atlanta community, starting as an independent artist, and you're not from Atlanta, what was your steps of getting into that community?
Um, I wish I had like a like step by step plan. It was really God for real. Like I
Yeah,
I I feel like I was led by God to go to Atlanta. And when I got there, I was just met with so much love. Like people was like showing me just so much love. And I think like in my first year, I met like maybe 10 to 15 people who are still with me right now. Um, and so even like I'm doing a show on December 20th at Vinyl. It's a venue in Atlanta with all Atlanta artists. Just because I got so much love for them and they got love for me, they was like, let's do it. So
yeah.
uh yeah, I'm not from Atlanta, but I love Atlanta like I am. So I anybody who say, oh yeah, that's Solomon, he from Atlanta, I'll be like, you know what? I love you too. Like,
Right,
because
right.
that's basically what it means. So yeah,
It reminds me of Jamie Foxx, his new stand up. He said, Atlanta saved my life. Atlanta
man,
has this type of energy that people really love. I know when I visit, I always it's really a movie every time I
yeah,
go.
yeah. I mean, I feel like in a certain way I could say that too. Like Atlanta saved my life kind of in a sense too, because I was in a different place when I was in North Carolina. Like small town, you can get wrapped up in a small town mentality. Like Atlanta liberated me in a lot of ways. So
Yeah. So, you know, you said you were playing drums, you started getting into music, and it took off. So, what was that thing for you as an artist and was like, it's time for me to move? How
I
did you do that? What was the strength and courage for you?
I think so there's this thing called like the indie circuit in North Carolina, and it's like all the indie venues and all the indie platforms. And I think once I had like performed at all those venues, and once I had kind of like exhausted my resources in that space and didn't really see the success that I felt like I wanted to see, I just knew. I was like, yeah, it's time for something else. And I didn't know what that else was, but Atlanta kind of presented itself to me. I had a friend down there that I used to go down there and write with. And so that became more frequent to the point to where it made sense to move there. And yeah, just made that leap of faith. And it had its ups and downs. Like I put a song out when I first got to Atlanta and it did absolutely nothing.
Mm,
Like not a thing. And then I put out Love FM and it did so much for me. So it's just like consistency. Uh, like I me personally, I know music is for me. So like just having that knowing and just like putting everything I have into it has yes, it's done wonders for me. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
yeah,
Let's get into this album. Let's get into Love FM.
yeah,
And we're gonna start with Love FM because you have Love FM Do,
yeah,
Do,
yeah, yeah,
Do.
yeah, yeah,
And you got some other music that's out too. But let's get into Love FM.
yeah.
Putting that together. It's a beautiful compilation of songs.
Thank
I
you.
can tell you put your blood, sweat, and tears in this. Um, I love. It's some songs. It's hard to choose what's my
Yeah,
favorite because you can put it on start at Stay Down and end at
yeah.
and be good. How did the concept of Love FM? Please tell me how you put this together.
So I think realistically, I'm gonna tell you the real story. I'm gonna tell you the real story. So I was making a mixtape and had maybe like 12 songs on there, and I switched gears. And then I was making an album and had maybe 10 songs there, and I switched gears. And so one day I was just listening to all the songs in the car, and in my head I was like, yeah, we can take this off, we can take this off, take that off, take that off. And it just became a process of like me just being in the car listening to my songs and just seeing like which ones stuck with me, seeing which ones didn't. And by the time I was done with it, I was left with those songs on Love FM, and it just kind of made sense to like make it a theme of like being in a car or listening to a radio show because that was the process that I went through making the project. Like I didn't have a specific theme in mind while I was making it. It just came together in the car. So like
Wow.
I was just like, well, let's go with it. Like whatever comes natural, let's just go with it. Like I don't be trying to like fight the ideas. So whatever feels natural, let's do it. And that's what it was.
I love it. Let's talk about I said it's hard for me to choose, but it's a few stuck out for me. Lose.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
about how
yeah.
you wrote that and what the concept of that.
Lose is actually about my wife before she was my wife. So we met each other, we were friends for a while, and we were kind of in that spot where we was like, yeah, I don't know. Because we were so like cool with each other, like we was friends for real. So because we knew so much about each other, we was like, I don't know about this bit all like, but it came to that spot to where it's like, man, like what like truly what do we have to lose? Like this is the connection that I feel like is worth trying it. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's that whole story, like, is a true story about what I was going through mentally before I started dating my girlfriend who became my wife.
I love that. I love your authenticity
Yeah.
too, because in your song XIV,
Yep, yep.
you speak on it. You really speak that truth where a lot of guys don't really talk about, I got a wife and a kid and I got a family. We're getting back into that,
Yeah.
but that choice and that decision to write about it and really stand on business on that, was it ever a challenge of you kind of going back over thinking that?
I'm grateful that it wasn't. I'm grateful that it wasn't. I made that song right after my son was born, and I didn't even think about it because, like, I was when he was born, we came out the hospital, no sleep. Like we had been in the hospital for I think like 3 days at that point. Like I'm tired, but I just feel like I wanted to keep working. And so instead of like forcing a song or feeling like I gotta be hella cool or like do, what I'm saying? I'm just talking about what's happening in real life. And that song just came naturally. And yeah, I didn't even think about it because originally, like I said, it was supposed to be on a mixtape. So I was just like, this was going on a mixtape. I didn't think about it. It's just a song that I did, but it ended up being like meaning more once I really like put some attention into it. So
Can you say some of the lyrics of that song, like the beginning? Because you
yeah,
started off hard.
yeah, the 804-919, like that's like those are addresses that mean a lot to me back in the city.
Yeah.
So those are like I ain't gonna say who, but those are spots that growing up meant a lot to me. Um that I realized I've grown a lot from those places. Like
Hmm.
the mindset that I had um in those places, like I said, like that shit done changed me. Come a long way. It should amaze me. Like it really does when I look back at like some of the stuff that I've either been involved with or done or like just been around, and to be in a place now where I feel good. Like I wake up grateful.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And to think that I'm not even like all the way where I will be. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's what that song just means to me. It's just like acknowledging that my life is different now. Um, you know, yeah. And I got a line in the chorus that like pray nobody scheming on me, like the whole nine. It's like, man, listen, I used to hold a lot of hate towards like certain people or like, situations that didn't go the way I wanted them to. And I'm just like, man, listen, I forgive y'all. Hopefully I forgive me. Like let's be off that. Like let's get into this next portion of life. So yeah, that's what it was.
The elevation, how does that help you in your songwriting and your music? Just life.
Yeah, how does it help me? I think honestly it just provides like a fresh outtake. Like I think maybe you can listen to a song and you could tell it just sounds like a song, like somebody just made a song, right? And then you can listen to a song and tell like, wait, I think this nigga for real. Like like
Yeah.
so and that just to me has always been interesting to me. Like when you could just feel that intangible thing that's like, wait, is he for real? Like he talked about his life, huh? And that's where I found my home at. It's talking about stuff that feels right, stuff that feels natural. Even if I'm in a negative spot, I'm gonna talk about some negative shit, like because that's just how
Yeah.
I feel today. Like so, yeah, that's my process. Whatever I feel, whatever's really going on, that's what we're gonna talk about.
I love it. Let's talk about TBD.
Yeah. Now, TBD was actually a demo that I wrote for somebody else.
Hmm.
Um, so I wrote it. So the first verse and the second verse, I originally wrote it as like a duet for like this girl and a guy. So the first verse is like in falsetto, and the second verse is like deeper or whatever. So it was originally supposed to be a duet. Um, of just like a story of like the will they want they story. You know, somebody who been in a little situationship or whatever, and uh yeah, just can't seem to get it right.
Right, right.
So that's that story. And then when I was like picking the songs, I was like, bro, this is hard, bro. I'm sorry, I gotta keep this one. I'm sorry. So because it went perfectly with the story of like you have love on there, but you also have like I'm not so sure on there, and it just fit perfectly in that middle ground. I'm like, this is a perfect like transition song. So yeah,
I love that you say you bring dark R&B.
yeah,
I love that because I'm kind of dark. There's songs like I really love dark. So when I saw that you like I give you that dark R&B, I was like,
yeah.
I can relate to that.
You feel me? Cause like everything ain't always super like like it's not always that like and I it's something about like darker chords or whatever that's just like way cooler. Like even recently I've stayed away from like just bright chords because I'm like we want to feel it. Like you know what I'm saying? Barry White won't making hella light music, nigga. Like so yeah, that we definitely make that for sure.
When putting these projects together, and you look at because on Love FM, the first track, "Stay Down."
Yeah.
I love just hearing some familiar chords of Jodeci
Yeah.
and "Stay." Devontae Swing,
Yeah.
who's an amazing person. Like people really like if you know you know.
He's crazy
Um,
with it.
the 90s and the 2000s R&B, how was it how did you connect with that? Because you're one of the newcomers. So some people don't even know. They'd be like, Jodeci who? If you're not really in the
Yeah.
R&B. How what was your connection to like the 90s and 2000s of R&B music?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, before anything, I'm from North Carolina, like I said. So Jodeci Casey and JoJo is from North Carolina.
Yeah.
Fantasia from North
Yes.
Carolina. Like we got a big Anthony Hamilton from North Carolina. So growing up, R&B was right there in your face because these are the people that grew up 20 minutes from you and they on the radio. So you listening to them. So yeah, R&B from like the 90s and the early 2000s, like that was just what was in front of my face all the time. So whenever I go for samples, a lot of times like I'll go for like very, very loud voices because you can like pitch it up or pitch it down and that texture gets like it get cool. So Jodeci, of course I went for them because they sing like they sing down for real. So
Facts.
um and I'm just always with anything North Carolina. So that's just kind of how I stumbled on that sample. But growing up, I really loved Omarion for real. Like Omarion is one of my favorite artists ever. I think he's like a phenomenal singer outside of like entertainment and the whole nine. So like the whole run of the Omarions, the Marcus Houstons, the like that whole run and that sound of it's a production group called the Underdogs.
I
That
know.
oh you already know, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We out here. So but that whole sound, like I fell in love with it. Like Tank, yeah. I fell in love with that sound. Even James Fauntleroy, like he's one of my favorite writers. I fell in love with that sound, and that's the early 2000s pocket. So yeah, I feel like I still have a little bit of that in me today. Just with
Yes.
like how I move through chords and harmonies and stuff. They played a big part. And Chris Brown for sure. So yeah.
I love that. Starting your music because I see the hard work that you're doing. What is it that you want people to know and to connect with you?
What do I want people to know? What do I want people to know? I think undeniably, um,
Or feel from your music.
yeah, I think undeniably I want people to feel seen. That's really what it is. Yeah. I think I want people to feel seen. Like even when we do shows, like I look at people feel the lyrics, and that makes me like hella happy. Like whenever I can sit down with somebody and they said like beyond it just sounding good or beyond them liking my voice or whatever it is, but like somebody could sit down and tell me like, nah, this song, like I felt this, or when you said that, I felt that, like whether it's positive, negative, whatever, like even if it's on some toxic stuff, they like, yeah, my nigga did this too. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm glad we can connect on an emotional level. So I want people to feel like seen when they listen to my music. So that's probably like
Yeah.
the top thing I want people to feel.
How is it as an artist navigating in the music industry? Because you just can't sing. You got to sing. You got to get your show together. You got to post on social media. How has that journey been for you?
It's been a lot.
Yeah.
That part of it has been a lot. The music has been easy. Um, but trying to figure out like your post schedules and then the algorithm and then, you know, you got to be on TikTok and Instagram and Threads and Twitter, but Twitter ain't Twitter no more, so it's X. It's like that part has been more complicated. And honestly, if I'm being real with you, I've stopped trying to figure it out. Honestly, I just started doing what was natural to me.
Hmm.
And when I want to post, I'm gonna post. And if I don't have nothing to post, I won't post. I won't try to force it. Um, that's just where I've landed today. You can ask me again next year. I might have a different answer. But that's just where I'm at with it today. Like I just personally am in a place where I feel like whatever is natural will read and you'll have the most peace there. Like, so
Yeah.
that's what
I
I
know
feel.
you talk about energy and freedom a lot.
Yeah.
Was that how, when you started out putting out music, has that always been like your vibe, or did you just get to, was it a certain situation that you experienced that you were like, I'm rocking with energy and freedom?
Nah, I mean, I'm a keep it real. Like, growing up, like I said, I believe in God, like I believe in Jesus. So I feel like I've experienced a lot of people who also have that same belief, but aren't free. And it kind of just was a thing where like even I encounter other artists who like couldn't get outside of their head, or you know would beat themselves up if they had a bad show, or like it just always has been a thing where I'm like, nah, bro, we here. Like if if the hair ain't all the way together, the hair ain't all the way together today. Like you feel me? If we're a little raspy today, we're a little raspy today. Like just embrace it, because I think some of my favorites like Marvin Gaye, I saw him one of my favorite shows might be like one of his worst shows. And I saw him just like struggle through it, and at a certain point he just let go and started having a
Mm.
good time. And the nigga was dancing and doing all the things, and I'm just like, man, that's what we here for. We here to have a good time. So like, yeah, freedom has always been a thing for me, where I'm just like, man, I want people to be themselves. I want people to be free, even if you awkward. If you if
Yeah,
you if you lame, be lame. Like, because like I love like some of the comedians that's like really quirky or like they really awkward. I love that. Like be
yeah.
you, like you know what I'm saying. However you are, be you, and I really stand for that. So, and I went through a process early on where I had to just like let go and be me. I was trying to be somebody else too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I see your fashion when I look at your shorts and videos and stuff. I see fashion. I feel like that's another lane for you. Has
yeah,
that always been your lane? Have you always been into fashion?
always, always.
Yeah.
I haven't always had a good grasp on it, but I've always been interested in it. Like if you see
Yeah.
some pictures from high school, early college days, I was putting anything on. So I was trying to figure it out, but I've always had a love for it. I've loved I love Kanye stuff. Love Pharrell has inspired me a lot. So yeah, I eventually one day would love to partner with a fashion brand and have my own line, or even if not that, just partner with a fashion brand somehow. Let's just make some art. I don't know. Let's figure it out.
I
But
see that. I see that for you. I see
yeah.
that for you as well. To date, what has been your goosebump moment of meeting someone, someone giving you some words of wisdom, what's been that goosebump moment for you?
Goosebump moment. I think coming to LA and when I came to LA, I just started moving around. I didn't know like, what is this venue? What is this venue? I didn't know. I was just doing whatever, came to me. And I think the goosebump moment for me was just having people be like, "Wait, you performing where? You doing what? Do you know how hard it is to get into such and such?" And I'm like, "No, like, so this is a big deal? Okay, let's get it." I became excited because like I just became more aware of like how my reach has expanded. And so yeah, that was a goosebump moment. I was in LA like a month ago and just seeing like I have a song that has over like 500,000 streams on Spotify. I'm like, hey, yo,
That's
okay,
big.
all right, we're getting there. Like, so yeah,
Did you always have, was it a plan or you just going with the flow as far as just, I'm going to do this organically? Or do you have like a notebook and a pad, like I'm step by step?
uh, it's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of
Yeah.
both because I mean, I want to when it's all said and done, I want to be one of the greatest. Like that's when it's all said and done, I want to be in the conversation of one of the greatest to ever do it. But also, I believe like the only way to do that is to be present. So I kind of just I used to have more of a plan than I do now, but these days I'm just like, man, I'm gonna show up to every opportunity at my best, and we just gonna go with it, and it's worked.
I
So
love
yeah,
that. I love that. Let's talk about this new song, Tattoo, Dragon Tattoo.
yeah, yeah.
Let's talk about that. Um, because you already have a great body of work. What was the inspiration for this new song that's doing really well and that's
Yeah,
really fire?
thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, so Dragon Tattoo is actually the first I haven't announced it officially, but I have told a few people. Uh Dragon Tattoo is the first single from the project that I'm gonna be releasing in January.
Okay.
So uh it gives you like the first glimpse into a story that I'm gonna be painting. But yeah, it's I feel like there's a kind of narrative in R&B that like narrative is really I mean R&B is really toxic right now. That's what I be seeing on like my timeline or whatever. Like niggas is toxic, niggas is toxic. And I feel like that is true. Niggas is toxic. I understand. But also like, that love, that sexy, that appreciating a woman R&B still exists. Like, you know, love still exists. Like, so Dragon Tattoo is nothing more than just like, celebrating a woman, celebrating, the how she looks, how she thinks. Like it's nothing more than that just because like that it still exists. It's not all about like, niggas ain't shit, women ain't whatever, whatever. Like, yeah. So and I think I'll elaborate on it more, and it'll make more sense in the context of the album for sure.
I love that. I love that. I just want to thank you for your time. And my last question to you is, I know there's more to come. If there was someone who didn't know something, like if there was something that you wanted to share with people to stay tuned for what's to come, what would you say?
I would say if you've enjoyed if you've enjoyed watching what R&B has become over the last maybe 5 years, I think you'll enjoy my contribution to what it's going to be for the next 40. I, I
I
I fully believe like I will have a hand in what R&B looks like for the next little pocket, and I'm gonna grow and grow, and then we're gonna get to that next space. So that's what I would say. Like I feel like you'll see me again. Yeah,
I'm so glad that we got you at the beginning because when you come back, because this is just
yeah,
the first of many,
right.
I'm gonna really love listening back to this conversation.
Yeah,
Because after all, look, all the Grammys, like you might be one of those ones that get all of them, Grammy,
yeah.
Tonys. Is it more aspiration to do more than music, maybe TV, film, or doing anything
Yes.
behind the scenes?
Yes, I would love to work with Jordan Peele. That's one of the things like I really, really whether it's like directing something or whether I'm starring in it, it don't even matter. Like I love movies. Like one of my favorite movies is Belly. So like Belly, Jordan Peele style movies, like I'm in love with stuff like that. So I would love to do movies one day. Um I'm into shows, but not really. It's really movies for me. But yeah, some type of cinema. Some type of cinema when the time is right and when the budget is there, because you gotta have a budget to make a movie. But when all that comes together, we gonna make it happen.
Okay. And in the meantime, we got to continue to support Love FM, Love FM
Yes,
Do, Dragon Tattoo, and what's
yes,
coming for 2025.
yes.
I appreciate you. Today, my guest is Solomon Headen. Please support him, and it's more to come because we love discovering more about you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely.